Hello, everyone. My name is Ezra, otherwise known as E-Soup. Today we are continuing the Beauty's Blade, or Maiden Jian, and we are at the halfway point, exactly, which is super exciting. And that is, I keep having to remind myself, that's not just like halfway through this volume, that's halfway through like this entire story. Hi Blue. Today, we are reading chapters 26 to 32. And that sounds like a lot, but it's still coming in under 50 pages, just barely. And what else? I feel like I had some thoughts, and they have all left my head. As happens often to me. I've been reading, I read like way too many things at once, so I think my head is just full of like all the different things I've been reading right now, and it's like, what has been going on? But I know that, last time we got maybe like some more developments on the Jade Guanyin. I'm still unsure exactly what happened with it, but I think somewhere earlier in the book, it said, what did it say? I don't know. I can't remember now. As soon as I start reading again, I'll be like, oh yeah, this is what's going on. I think Fu Wanqing... Oh yeah, that's right. She's scheming kind of against the whole Jiangyu. And I think there's a situation where, like, the way her dad treated her mother is, like, really bad, and so she's kind of trying to get revenge on, like, her sect and just kind of everybody. The Jianghu martial arts world. Oh, Blue, you said, I'd love to help you remember, but I also forgot. Yeah, so I think there was something earlier in the book indicating that Fu Wanqing herself actually has the Jade Guanyin or stole it or something. But then somebody else has it now, so I don't know if that's the real one or not. Again, it's a short book, so it's like a lot has happened already in this very short amount of time. And as a result, it's like we're really moving at a pretty fast clip. So sometimes I'm like, what is happening? But I am enjoying it, and I feel like the core of this book is like the flirting and the relationship dynamic between our two main characters. And there's definitely been some inroads with that, especially last time. A lot of stuff happened, and we were talking about this at some point in the chat. I think it was too bad, Blue, that you weren't there last time for the live. But I'm glad you were able to catch up. Yeah, you said I really need to reread this at my own pace, aka finish it in a day. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's part of it is like you have a short book. And so every time something important happens and you're not gonna get like long passages about it or like references to it like a bunch of times because there's only so much space. So it's just like this happened and then this. I do think there's an art to writing a short book or a really short story and making it very like clear and like concise at the same time. Like I do think it's possible to do that, but I think it's very, very difficult to not make it so it's a little bit like fast paced, if that makes sense. Yeah, you said I can't believe that I missed the bath. Yeah, that was I was thinking about that. That is unfortunate. Yes. Yeah, it's harder to write a good short book versus a long one. I think when I've written things in the past, I haven't really been writing for like a long time because writer's block just happens to me like endlessly. But I used to write short stories, but really what it would be is I would write like a bunch at a time, and then I would be like, okay, I want to write more of this, but I kind of like ran out of steam on it. And then I would be like, well, I guess it's a short story, but I've never actually like successfully completed anything in that way. It's like, no, this needs to be longer. And when I do read a really short book that is just so perfectly put together, I'm like, I don't know how they did that. Because there's definitely an art to it. It definitely seems more difficult than if you have the space to write something longer. Yeah, you said 40K in like a week and then months without writing again. Yeah, and I used to write poetry too. I just like haven't been writing lately. It's just sort of like not having the inspiration. And when I do have ideas or inspiration, it still doesn't feel like it can come out properly. I don't know. Like lately it's been with like, oh, I really want to write fanfic of this thing. And I have like a fully mapped out plot and I write down like a bunch of notes. And then it comes time to actually write it. And I'm like, no, this is not happening. Yeah, the inspiration plus time and drive and energy. And it's like, I need to use my energy that I have for other things, other priorities. And so it's like, that's not going to happen right now, but I don't know when it's going to happen. But anyway, so enough about that. I am going to get started. We are on, they don't put the page number on the blank page that's next to the start of the chapter, so I keep having to go back and check. We're on page 195 for chapter 26, which is called Making Plans. Everything was a complete mess. No one there understood how it had come to this, but they held back out of respect for the Light Path Alliance. Shen Shengyi was a Dian Tang sect prodigy, and held in high esteem by everyone present, but he did not and could not have their full loyalty. The Jianghu respected Shen Shengyi, but the Zhong brothers did not. Shen Shengyi had snatched away Zhong Shixiu's broadsword, and losing control of one's own weapon was terribly embarrassing. Humiliated and enraged, Zhong Shixiu didn't stop to think. He launched a punch right at Shen Shengyi's face. Zhong Shiling joined the fray, not to end the fight, but to back his brother up. The two of them might brawl over a woman, but against an outsider, they were always united. Of course, the real source of Zhong Shixiu's anger was already out of range. Guo Ju only cocked his head and watched the ruckus from afar, smiling. The Zhong brothers were clearly no match for Shen Shengyi. In the span of perhaps a dozen strikes, Shen Shengyi had tapped their acupoints and left them standing there immobilized. All they could do was yell and curse. Unbothered, Shen Shengyi swept his sleeves aside and smiled. My apologies for the disturbance, he said to the assembled warriors. Let's resume our discussion on the matter of the Jadewater Guild. Finally, someone spoke up. His voice was quiet, but everyone present had martial training. They could hear every word. Miss Yu's personal conduct notwithstanding, she's still their high priestess. Is it really appropriate for her to be here? Shen Shengyi glanced at Fu Wanqing, but she cut him off before he could say anything. She laughed and took hold of Yu Shengyan's hand. We're not interested in your plans for attacking the Jadewater Guild, she said airily. We just came to grab little bro Guo. Guo Ju immediately leapt to her side. Fu Wanqing patted him on the shoulder, her voice very casual. Gu Yu's injured. Shouldn't you use this opportunity to show her what you're made of, little bro? Guo Ju blinked, stunned. Who hurt her? Fu Wanqing glanced at the frozen Zhong brothers. The springtime smile is crawling with her subordinates. Who do you think hurt her? She did it herself? Guo Ju was stunned. He skittered backward, stumbling, and ran off toward the springtime smile. Fu Wanqing took one last look at the Wulin fighters, then left with Yu Shangyan in tow. After all that nonsense, some people had reached the very end of their patience. "When are Fu Daxia and Yang Daxia coming to Linan?" shouted a fat monk, prayer beads in hand. "Old man Zhong of the Arcane Order is gone, but where are the others? Why is this being handled by a bunch of kids and not the leader of the Light Path Alliance, Fu Daxia? Clean up your own messes already. What a joke." "Honored monk, don't say that," someone else protested. "Fu Daxia is even more concerned than we are. The Jade Guanyin belongs to the House of Valor, after all. And as for Yang Daxia, well, everyone in the Jianghu knows why the statue went missing." "Oh, hi, Nina." "Oh, thank you." "What do you mean?" "Nothing. The Light Path Alliance has only sent out a few kids. Old man Zhong is dead, and now the Arcane Order has been reduced to this. Can we even look to the Light Path Alliance anymore?" "Everyone," said Shun Shengyi, "please quiet down and listen to me." The Wei Yang Company was not to be trusted, and the Zhong brothers knew nothing but their own lust. Shun Shengyi was the only one there worth listening to. In the Jianghu, Shun Shengyi's reputation was spotless. Green Jade Isle was difficult to reach, but according to Yue Qingtan, the Jade Guanyin had been sent there. Whether it was true or not, they had to mount an attack. Some stressed over various trifles, while others wandered about without worry or care. In a little pavilion next to West Lake, Fu Wanqing lay in Yu Shangyan's lap. Here is the first We Drink to lap of the stream. There will probably be a lot of them. Presently, she was engrossed in tearing up an osmanthus cake and pressing little bites into Yu Shangyan's mouth. "How are they going to get to Green Jade Isle?" she rambled, narrowing her eyes. "How many people are going? If you ask me, none of them will make it back out. That group can't do much of anything to the Jadewater Guild." To her, Yu Shangyan was just another woman, not the High Priestess. She could easily tell her all her plans. She was certain Yu Shangyan would not tell another soul. Fu Wanqing trusted Yu Shangyan wholly. That inexplicable trust had taken root in her heart the moment she saw her face. Okay, love at first sight, I guess. Yu Shangyan was very placid, but Fu Wanqing didn't want someone as insubstantial as drifting smoke. She wanted to grab that smoke in her hands and grind it into her flesh and blood. Oh no, Blue, you lost your lap counter. Girl, this is how people end up in ditches. Like, oh, you're so beautiful, I trust you. Yeah. She sat across from Yu Shangyan, fingertips brushing crumbs from her mouth. "It's been a long time since I last wanted to duel you," she said idly. Yu Shangyan licked the crumbs from Fu Wanqing's fingers. Oh, right, we drink to hands, too, and fingers. We decided that fingers counts as well, so. She looked down, voice light. That's a good thing. "Not at all." Fu Wanqing shook her head, batting her eyelashes. "Tell me, do you know what I'm thinking about right now?" "I do not," Yu Shengyan answered blandly. Fu Wanqing put her hands around Yu Shangyan's waist and buried her face against her chest, listening to the slow drum of her heart. A muffled laugh reverberated in her throat. 3 months suddenly feels too short," she said. "I want to keep you with me until I grow sick of your company." 3 months, that's all," said Yu Shangyan. But in her head, she sighed. Fu Wanqing was Fu Wanqing and no one else. Her first priority was always herself. Something makes me think, A, that's going to change, and B, Yu Shengyan is going to have a moment where she realizes that that's changed, and that's going to be pivotal. Like a moment where Fu Wanqing's priority is not her first priority is not herself. Your heart skipped a beat, said Fu Wanqing. What were you thinking about? Her senses were very sharp. She was studying Yu Shengyan's face as if she could solve a mystery through her eyes. Nothing, Yu Shengyan said. You were mistaken. Fu Wanqing giggled, eyes sharpening. It's been over a month. The time we have left grows shorter every day. So why do people keep trying to butt in? The people in question came charging out of the icy lake, their faces covered in black fabric. Long blades glinted in their hands as they converged on Fu Wanqing. We drink to hand, so I guess that counts. But another group appeared in front of them before they even reached the pavilion. Those blades were stopped in midair. Fu Wanqing's eyes never moved from Yu Shengyan's face. Do you know them? Disciples from White Peak Hall. Ah, yes. White Peak, the opposites of Black Peak. I don't know what song White Peak would sing. The masked ones are probably your own enemies, Lady Fu. Many loved Fu Wanqing, and many others hated her. Enemies? She'd pass out from exhaustion before she could recall all their names. With a loud splash, a few of the attackers were kicked into the lake. Those jade-blue waters were marred with red, but the weapon that thrust out from the lake had also broken one of the white-garbed man's legs. Your guild's disciples are pretty skilled, Fu Wanqing praised them. Yu Shengyan looked at her. I hear the skills of Baihe Isle are taken from the best of all other schools, she said suddenly. My lady, that is still the core of your training, correct? The House of Valor's Song of the Swordsman forms have too many flaws. I'm sure you must have dropped them a long time ago. Why would you ask? Are you looking to duel me now? Interest glittered in Fu Wanqing's eyes. She looped a lock of Yu Shengyan's hair around her fingertips, sighing. Baihe Isle did leave many martial archives behind, but the old man doesn't know about them. Violence was a constant in the Jianghu. The tang of blood filled the air. The masked infiltrators had all been knocked into the lake. But the White Peak disciples had taken plenty of injuries of their own, especially the one with the broken leg. These people hadn't come to save Fu Wanqing. Given the choice, they'd rather kill her with their own hands. Unfortunately for them, Fu Wanqing was seated in the lap of their high priestess. Priestess, one of them said, the Light Path Alliance is planning an attack on our guild. I beg you to return and take the lead on our defense. Yu Shengyan stared at them, silent. Fu Wanqing let go of Yu Shengyan, flashing out like a bolt of lightning and sealing the injured man's acupoints. She dug a bottle from her lapels and tossed it to him, smirking. Take this and go. Your high priestess isn't coming back to the Jadewater Guild. And please tell Lo Kexin to arrange her forces appropriately. Otherwise, she'll never see me, let alone take revenge. You. Go, said Yu Shengyan blandly. Do as Lady Fu asks. The high priestess's command was inviolable. Despite their burning discontent, they had no choice but to obey. Fu Wanqing giggled as she watched their retreating backs. With a priestess like you, it's no wonder the Jadewater Guild is about to be wiped out. Isn't that exactly what you want? Yu Shengyan watched shock flit across Fu Wanqing's face. With you around, Fu Wanqing, it's no wonder the Jianghu has no peace. Fu Wanqing laughed. Yu Shengyan, are you calling me a scourge on the Jianghu? Yu Shengyan shook her head. She knew Fu Wanqing was seeking revenge. She might not praise her, but that didn't mean she'd stand in her way. That's the end of the chapter. We are on page 201 for chapter 27, which is called Press of Skin. So that's a title. Guoju was intoxicated, though he hadn't touched a single drop of wine today. A winding mountain range stretched on in the distance, a sorrowful sunset filling the vast horizon. He sat on the railing, staring at the flame-swept clouds, the vivid red of blood. A giggle drifted in. "Little bro Guo, are you here nursing a broken heart?" Fu Wanqing leapt lightly onto the railing and sat next to Guoju, watching the comings and goings of the people on the streets below. "Fu Jiejie," he said with a hollow laugh. "I don't want to be your little bro right now." Fu Wanqing's eyes softened. She nodded. "I know." Guoju sighed, rubbing his eyes. "I saw the blood on pretty Jiejie's wrists. There's row after row of scars on her arms. Why would she do that to herself? I don't understand. Is it in memory of a lover? Does that mean I have even less of a chance?" Okay, I don't know if that's the first priority that you think of if someone is hurting themselves like that, but okay. "The scars on her wrists remind her of someone who broke her heart." Fu Wanqing sighed. "But it wasn't a lover. It's close to the anniversary of her mother's death. But doing this only hurts her in the end. Little... You could try and persuade her not to." I'm still... Guoju is interesting. I have questions. And they're, like, hinting at something, but I'm like, what? Okay. There were many things that couldn't be explained in just a few words. Faithless heartbreakers. The world was full of them, just like the illustrious Fu Hui. Fu Wanqing's gaze cooled at the thought. "It's probably doomed," Guoju murmured, head hanging low. His clear eyes brimmed with sorrow. Suddenly, he turned to Fu Wanqing. "Fu Jiejie, do you have feelings for Priestess Yu?" "Yeah." Fu Wanqing nodded thoughtlessly. "Yu Shangyan is the only person worthy of my affections. But I'm still going to kill her." She still thinks that. At this point, I'm like, all right, you're saying that, but because she's the high priestess of the Jadewater Guild? Guoju jolted upright. "Fu Jiejie, you've never cared about what the Jianghu labels good or evil." "You're right, I don't." Fu Wanqing laughed, staring into the distance. The light of the setting sun bathed her face in gold. "I love her because she is Yu Shangyan, and I'll kill her for the same reason. Between Fu Wanqing and Yu Shangyan, only one may live. Do you understand? There's only room for one to stand at the top of the Jianghu." "I don't." Guoju shook his head. "Aren't you supposed to do anything for the person you love? Fu Jiejie, if you've really fallen in love with Yu Shangyan, how could you bear to kill her? Wouldn't you be bored living in a world without her? You'll go crazy for sure." "Fu Jiejie, you don't love Priestess Yu. You're just saying that." "No," said Fu Wanqing. Her eyes were shining. "I do love her. I want to do everything with her. If I could block a blow for her, take an injury for her, I would. I'd let the Jadewater Guild live if she but asked me. But I have to kill her, for she is mine." "Fu Jiejie, you're thinking only of yourself. Do you actually want to kill her? I think what you're feeling is just obsession. You want to prove you can best Priestess Yu. But she's so indifferent, she couldn't care less about a first-place title. And for you, that's even worse than a defeat. You might as well be honest and say you want a duel, not her death. But in a match between legends, you can't stop at first blood. Only one of you is walking away alive." Guoju's penetrating gaze saw to the truth of things. "Fu Jiejie." He raised his voice, unafraid. "You keep saying you want to kill Yu Shangyan, but when the time comes, I don't think you'll be able to do it. She's very dangerous, Fu Jiejie. You should keep your distance. The world's greatest danger often came from the ruthless, those who showed no mercy to others or to themselves. Fu Wanqing shook her head. No. Smiling, she changed the subject. Rather than worry about this, why don't you go check on Gu Yu? Do you remember what I told you before? Fu Jie, Guoju lowered his head, eyes wet with frustration. You need to take the first step. How many years have you spent living for someone else? The only thing keeping your hands tied is your identity, and soon those ties will fall away. Are you telling me you don't want this? Of course I do. Guoju's eyes went distant. How many years had he earned for it? Everyone knew Guoju was the young master of Hawk's Roost, but very few knew she was a woman. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. We're talking about this now. Not that it wasn't, like, pretty obvious in multiple instances, but I was like, okay, I want some backstory. It had been her mother's decision. She'd gone to extremes to win back her husband's affections, sacrificed her daughter's entire life in the name of love. She was dead now, and that man had grown old, but the son, whose only purpose was to be an heir, remained trapped in Hawk's Roost, trapped in place by the Jianghu's many names. Young Lord, Young Master. These titles felt like nothing but cruelty. Tears shimmered in Guoju's eyes. Her hands tightened into fists. She looked up to meet Fu Wanqing's encouraging eyes. I don't know if Gu Yu prefers men or women, said Fu Wanqing. But I do know that if she falls for you as a man, she's too prideful. If the truth ever comes out, she'll never let you close to her ever again. Right now, she has no lover. If you want her to remember you, you have to face her as your true self. Guoju seemed to understand. Or perhaps she didn't, but she left regardless. Fu Wanqing sat on the railing, staring up at the darkening sky. She let out a long sigh. Guoju was right. She didn't know what love or affection meant. Yu Shangyan's voice cut through the air. Gu Yu answers to you. It was impossible to tell how long she'd been sitting there, or how much she'd heard. Her cheeks were faintly flushed, her eyes glittering like she'd had too much wine. Poor Guoju. Has your heart of stone finally softened? Asked Fu Wanqing. You've begun to sympathize with others? She slid from the railing and went to Yu Shangyan's side, smiling. You started drinking and didn't think to invite me? Pursing her lips, Yu Shangyan laughed. Wine intoxicates. It's unhealthy. Fu Wanqing held her gaze, unblinking. But I want to drink with you. Very well, Yu Shangyan nodded. She seemed to rarely refuse her anything. Fu Wanqing studied her, considering. Would Yu Shangyan agree so quickly and thoughtlessly to another person's demands? She burst into laughter, shaking her head. Who else was there? Yu Shangyan belonged at no one's side but hers. The scent of alcohol and the musk of skin. Was it really the liquor dizzying her senses? Spirals of smoke lingered among the fluttering drapes, as soft and nebulous as a waking dream. Fu Wanqing cupped Yu Shangyan's jaw, wine trickling from one mouth into another. Are you joking right now? It's a scene break. I just had to. I was not expecting that to be the way that they shared wine. I should have known. Candlelight guttered, the flame on the verge of being snuffed out by the wind. A shadow lay against the door, the lines of their body softly curved. Suddenly, a jug of wine smashed against the ground. Who's there? Shouted Gu Yu, slamming her bloodied hairpin deep into the table. She covered the overlapping wounds with the hem of her sleeve and opened the door on unsteady feet, eyes half-lidded from drink. The person standing at her door was both familiar and not. Guyu put her hand to her mouth and laughed. Guoju, what are you up to this time? Have you gone mad? Why are you dressed like a spoiled young lady? Being a rich little lordling wasn't enough for you? She tugged Guoju inside and slammed the door shut, her hand coming up to caress the handsome lines of Guoju's face. Her breath hummed with alcohol. All men are faithless, but my mother was too stupid to realize it. Men lust after women. Do women develop a taste for men as well? Young Master Guo, you've come at the perfect time. Guoju's cheeks burned as red as her eyes. She grabbed Guyu's hand and felt the wet stickiness there, saw the startling stain of red. When she pushed her sleeve back, the sight of new wounds on top of old scars distressed Guoju so badly she almost cried, but Guyu only grabbed her by the collar and pulled her close. It's just a scratch. Have at it, young Master Guo. Every inhale was thick with the smell of wine. Guoju untangled her clothes from Guyu's hands, abruptly infuriated at this Guyu who looked just the same as ever. Guoju pushed her into bed, voice cold and composed. You're drunk. Guoju tugged her wounded arm out from the blankets and patiently applied some medicinal powder. Few were well behaved while drunk, and Guyu certainly wasn't. She gave up on tugging at Guoju's lapels, but managed to undo her own clothes. Young Master Guo, she cooed glibly. Weren't you telling everyone you'd marry me? Guoju glanced at her. With great difficulty, she managed to look away, and then struck her decisively in the shoulder, rendering her unconscious. Oh, I guess it's one of the, acupoints or something that's supposed to knock you out. At last, she let out a breath of relief and fixed her clothes. Salves capable of removing scars were almost impossible to find in the Jianghu, but Guoju had some with her. As the young master of Hawk's Roost, she had access to things most people could only dream of. She spread the cool ointment with her fingers, feeling it begin to burn. Guoju didn't know if the fragrance she smelled was the salve or just the scent of Guyu's skin. Like a temple statue, she sat stiffly in the middle of the room until dawn broke. The sleeping woman woke with a mumble, clutching her aching head. A long moment passed before she found her voice and shouted, Guoju, you... Guoju scrubbed at her dry eyes. Have you sobered up yet? Guyu sat up straight, then slowly lay back down. I think I'm still dreaming, she said with a laugh. Memories from last night filtered back in. Her face paled. I'm no one's young master, said Guoju bitterly. I want to be an ordinary girl. And by the way, there's art. Oh, that's the end of the chapter. Yeah, Guoju is really cool. Even though she did say that weird thing where she was kind of like fixated on Guyu's potential care for her so much that she was like, oh no, she's cutting because she's heartbroken over someone else. Like, that was weird, but like, imperfect character, but like, I like her. Yeah, when will her reflection show who she is inside? I feel like a lot of times in novels when it's like, when you have the plot line of like, the girl who was raised to be a boy, and then she's like trying to get back to like who she really is, and she doesn't want to be in that role. It feels like a reverse way of like getting at a trans narrative. Like, obviously the character is not trans, but some of the some of the kind of themes that come up, they feel kind of like a character who's a trans woman, if that makes any sense at all. And I don't know if that's like in any way, I don't think that's in any way like intended, but it's like that just kind of stands out at me. And I'm still kind of like, I would kill for a Baihe or a Danmei that had like a canonically trans character. Even if they're a side character, I'm just like, anybody, that would be super cool. And that's the closest thing to it, I guess, at this point that I've found. I'm sure they exist, but I just don't know what they are or how to find them. Yeah, Blue, you said, I agree. It's all about self-discovery and being allowed to be who you are. Yeah. So, we're on page 209 for chapter 28, which is called Dancing Sleeves. Green Jade Isle was a deadly place. Nearly every boatman they asked had refused to take them to sea the second they heard the name. The only one who agreed was a lone, white-haired old man. Stroking his beard, he sighed long and loud, eyeing them with pity, as if he were looking at a pile of corpses. The look in his eyes made many of them quail. After thinking it over, Shun Shengyi had sent out a few Diantong sect disciples, but they hadn't returned. In the stillness of the night, the only sound was the rustling of flipped pages. The woman pillowed on Yu Shengyan's lap seemed mostly asleep. Oh. Blue, you said there is one who is canonically transcoded. I'm not sure if you've met them yet, but I can tell you where they're from in Discord later. Oh, thank you. I would love to hear about that. It's not, I do like to go into things like somewhat blind sometimes, but I don't care about being spoiled if it's like, oh, this has a like trans character in it. So I don't know. Oh, you're surprised I don't know about them. Well, you know, I mean, I do generally avoid spoilers from things. And there was like it was like a year ago or something I tried to look this up. I was like trans characters in Danmei question mark, and I found like one like super unknown thing with like a side character, and then I think I couldn't, I don't remember if I even like could find where to read it, and I was just like, oh, okay. But that was it. So I just kind of gave up from that point. But if it's something more well known, I am surprised that I haven't heard about it. Anyway, we are, that was lap number, I don't know, 13, 14? After a time, a giggle escaped her lips. She and Yu Shengyan weren't alone in the room. A man in black was kneeling patiently on the ground. Fu Wanqing coiled her loose hair and turned to him. Don't interfere with those trying to sneak into Danhe's Isle, she said lazily. No matter how strong they are, they're not going to find anything worth taking. There's one more thing, said the man. He glanced at Yu Shengyan and hesitated. It's about Green Jade Isle. The left-hand deputy has emerged as well. And they've seized back the businesses we took from the Jadewater Guild. Our men were wounded. It's fine. Let them rest up. Fu Wanqing paused, tittering. It seems no one's willing to ferry those righteous cultivators, though. Through. Excuse me. It seems no one's willing to ferry those righteous cultivators through. Prepare a ship for their use. If they're in such a hurry to die, we might as well give them a hand. The black-garbed man nodded. Understood. Having received his orders, he left. Deputy Wei Xian of the Jadewater Guild didn't live up to his namesake, virtue, at all. He was far more powerful than Lo Kexin. Narrowing her eyes, Fu Wanqing considered asking Yu Shengyan about him, but the cool disinterest on her face quelled that urge. She sat up, plucking the book from Yu Shengyan's hands. Do you want to return to the Jadewater Guild? Yu Shengyan glanced at her. Does it matter what I want? We'll go if you want to, and if you don't... Fu Wanqing paused, beaming prettily. We still have to go. As you wish, said Yu Shengyan. The juniors of the Light Path Alliance pose no threat to the Jadewater Guild, but I don't know what those wily old foxes are planning behind the scenes. Let's go join in on the fun. How could I miss the moment the Light Path Alliance falls apart for good? Fu Wanqing had been planning the destruction of the Light Path Alliance for a long time. This mattered far more to her than the Jadewater Guild's defeat. It was a wintry night in the 11th month. A massive boat drifted at sea, its lanterns bright enough to outshine the stars overhead. Slowly, its 5 sails puffed out, and the ship shot into the pitch-black water like an arrow from its bow. Waves rose, surrounding them with the sound of crashing water. No one in the Jianghu knew where the Zhong brothers had gotten the ship. They only knew it was taking them to a place that represented both hope and despair. Inside the cabin, a splendid feast was going on, and its rosy warmth was enough to dispel all the chill of winter. It's like we're back at the springtime smile. Zhongxiong, where did you find the ship? Where's its owner? Why don't they come out and let us all take a look? Zhong Shishio laughed. He's probably busy, he said, glancing at Gu Yu. A crispy peanut landed in her mouth. Yu Shengyan frowned, tugging at Fu Wanqing's hand. Gu Yu got them the boat, right? Mm-hmm, Fu Wanqing hummed, eyes flitting from the dancers in the room. The ship skimmed across a stormy sea, but the people of the Jianghu had succumbed to the revelry and forgotten where they were. And if the ship were to sink, all of these handsome young Jianghu scions would become a feast for the fishes. That seems like foreshadowing of something. But Sarah, we're going to have another Titanic moment. Lights flickered in Fu Wanqing's eyes. She drummed the table to the beat the dancers were following, humming along with the melody. It was as if she too had lost herself in this world of tempting warmth. Yu Shengyan's brows remained tightly furrowed. She grabbed a few peanuts and tossed them into her mouth, frowning more deeply. One person's happiness always came hand in hand with another person's worry. There was no way to please everyone at once. Guoju sat at Shen Shengyi's side. She had no idea what he was talking about. She was staring fixedly at the Zhong brothers across from her, and Gu Yu, sitting in between them, endlessly plied with wine. Her face was flushed like a peach blossom unfurling, her expressive eyes glimmering with enchanting allure. But none of that was directed at Guoju herself, only at the Zhong brothers. Brother Guo, your palms are bleeding, Shen Shengyi pointed out, frowning. The cup that had shattered in Guoju's grip was cutting into her flesh. When she looked down, all she saw was glaring red. She pushed the rage out of her eyes and hid her injured hand behind her back. Yu Shengyan pushed at the absent-minded Fu Wanqing. Your little brother Guo is bleeding. It's just a cut. It's not fatal, Fu Wanqing giggled, pointing at the long sleeves flying atop the stage. Don't you think it's a beautiful dance? Yu Shengyan smiled thinly, hiding the cutting edge that glinted in her eyes. Yes, very. Fu Wanqing nodded, wrapping her hand around Yu Shengyan's throat, eyes so glassy she looked drunk. They say Priestess Yu of the Jadewater Guild has a photographic memory. Will you perform for me in private? She ignored the frost gathering in Yu Shengyan's eyes as she pushed her face into the crook of her neck. Their charms are nothing compared to yours. When I look at them, I think about how much better it would be if you were the one dancing. but I'm glad you aren't. That's not a sight for anyone but me. Yu Sheng'an was silent for a long time. Is that really what you want? Fu Wenqing nodded. Yu Sheng'an got up abruptly and left the feast in front of everyone's watching eyes, while Fu Wenqing stretched lazily and ambled after her, a cunning smile playing over her mouth. She reached out and yanked, a length of shining white silk appearing in the palm of her hand. The others watched on in confusion as she followed after Yu Sheng'an. The shock wore off quickly, though, and they returned to their revelry. Lady Fu had always been erratic, to say nothing of the demonic priestess Yu Sheng'an. Only Shen Shengyi looked thoughtfully at the curtains fluttering in the wind outside. Moonlight shone in through the window lattice, illuminating the narrow but not uncomfortable cabin. A jade xiao spun in Fu Wenqing's hand before she brought it to her lips, playing something mournful and plaintive. Mournful and plaintive is like the vibe that you're going for this dance? Okay, interesting. Yu Sheng'an looked perfectly remote, like a moon goddess descended to the earth. She moved to the melody, but she didn't dance like the girls at the feast. Her sleeves spun through the air like new fallen snow, every twist of her body like a whirling gale. This had been a shared whim. When the music ended, they stared at each other in silence. The jade xiao went crashing to the ground. Fu Wenqing smiled bitterly. Yeah, I was about to say, okay, it doesn't say that she broke it, but I was just like, girl, how many xiaos are you gonna break? Fu Wenqing smiled bitterly. Yu Sheng'an, she asked, is there anything you're not good at? Yu Sheng'an wiped at the sweat on her brow with the corner of one sleeve. What did you want me to be good at? And what were you hoping I wasn't good at? Fu Wenqing blinked. I want you to be good at everything, so that you're fit to be my rival. I want you to be bad at everything, so only I, Fu Wenqing, am fit for the title of first place. Yu Sheng'an let out a long sigh. Me too. I never wanted to compete with you. If it's a title you want, you can have it. I will not duel you. Just tell the Jianghu that Yu Sheng'an lost. Fu Wenqing's face tightened, her eyes darkening and her hands forming fists. Yu Sheng'an, she snarled. You insult me. Yu Sheng'an didn't understand. Wasn't first place just a title? What use was it? Fu Wenqing was already admired by everyone in the Jianghu. Was this all just for the sake of her pride? Fu Wenqing noticed Yu Sheng'an's confusion. She pursed her lips. Yu Sheng'an, you don't take anything seriously, but I'm not like you. There are many things in the world I want to pursue. I want to duel you, and I want to win. And I want those things both for my reputation and for myself as a swordswoman. One day, your unseen sword will leave its sheath for me. We will cross blades. Yu Sheng'an shook her head. No, she said, I will not draw my sword to face you. The unseen sword only leaves its sheath to... To what? Asked Fu Wenqing. Yu Sheng'an lowered her lashes, darkness flickering in her eyes. The unseen sword only leaves its sheath to cleave hearts in two. Fu Wenqing, you have no heart. How could the unseen sword be drawn for you? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ow. Fu Wenqing had no heart. She was a blazing flame, one that appeared scorching hot, but it was in truth colder than Kunlun snow. Fu Wenqing knew that well, and so did Yu Sheng'an. A little over a month remains, murmured Yu Sheng'an. She looked away from Fu Wenqing, and back to the moonlight spilling to the ground. Are you in such a rush to leave me? Fu Wenqing asked icily. She could sense Yu Sheng'an trying to push her away, and it made her heart throb with pain. That's not important, said Yu Sheng'an. I know, where did a whole month go? I mean, they've been doing stuff, but, like, we spent a lot of time in the first month, and then the second month was just like, bye. Yeah, didn't we have 2 months left an hour ago? You're right. That's not important, said Yu Shengyan. Fu Wanqing laughed. She flung out her sleeves, stomping on the jade shout. Yep, she broke another one, as she turned to the cabin door. Yes, she said in parting. It's not important at all. As soon as the 3-month deadline passes, I will challenge you to a duel, and one of us will die. Or, if you refuse, you can watch your dear Shijie die in front of you. Fu Wanqing was enraged. Oh, I guess it's not broken. Yu Shengyan bent to pick up the jade xiao. She rubbed her eyes and sighed deeply. Me too. I am also sighing deeply. That is the end of the chapter. Trying to see if I should take a break now or read one more chapter. You see how long each half has been. Where do we start? We started at 26. I will read one more chapter and then I will take a break. Yeah, right. Blue, probably is, because the book is short and they need to have a big end of the 3 months climax and maybe a separation arc. No, it makes sense. I think they were kind of, like, establishing a rhythm of things in the first month. And now that, I don't know, kind of like that was established, it's like, well, now time is passing faster. Gotta progress the timeline somehow. So we're on page 217 for chapter 29, which is called Thirst for Blood. I'm still thinking about the foreshadowing that the ship might sink. Yeah, that's true. It was like a bit sudden because, like, I don't really have a sense of what has happened over the course of the second month. Like, what they've been doing. Yeah, no, it's a little weird. Yeah, I feel like the ship, as in the actual literal ship, is going to be sinking. The massive ship cut through calm waters like a knife. As the wind dispelled the fog, a smattering of small islands came into view. Or maybe not this time. Maybe they'll make it to their destination. Yu Shengyan stood at the prow, eyes fixed on the horizon, alone in the bone-chilling cold. Lady Fu and Priestess Yu seemed glued together, and the Jianghu had already grown used to seeing them as a pair. The sight of the priestess standing there by herself was rather baffling. Ooh, if they have a drowning scene. Yeah, another a Titanic moment. Everything is gonna make me think of Titanic now. Yeah. That would be something. Yu Shengyan knew Fu Wanqing was busy with those drunken revelries inside the cabin. Lady Fu was not content to sit in boredom. She wasn't anything particularly important to Fu Wanqing, thought Yu Shengyan. A mournful sigh slipped from her lips against her will. Fu Wanqing was quick to anger, but her rage soon passed as well. This time, however, it had lasted 2 days and counting. A lonely seagull swept over the water. Yu Shengyan shot toward it like a bolt. She returned to the ship in a flash of white, an exquisitely crafted golden arrow clutched in her hand. The word Fu was carved on the tip. She lowered her head and laughed softly, tossing the golden arrow into the sea. You Jijie, said someone quietly. Yu Shengyan turned to see a drunken Guoju leaning against the railing, wine gourd in hand. Fu Jijie is angry. What happened? Nothing, said Yu Shengyan softly. Yu Jijie, it feels like you don't want to talk to me. Guoju gulped some wine and laughed. Want some? Yu Shengyan shook her head. With a crash, the gourd exploded. The scent of wine mingled with the salty tang of the sea. It was a sword, a very swift sword, aimed not at Guoju, but rather Yu Shengyan's heart. The wielder was a middle-aged man wearing pale blue Taoist robes, his face stern and his eyes hateful. When had he appeared among the Diantong sect disciples? Guoju reacted swiftly. She whipped out her soft sword as she leapt up, sending the tip of it wrapping around the man's sword like a flying snake. The man countered, another sword flying out from within his sleeve aimed straight at Yu Shengyan, intent on its target. A single sword was far from enough to kill Yu Shengyan. The man clearly knew that well, but luckily, he had 2 arms and 2 legs, which meant he could draw 4 swords. Sorry, but how are you doing that with your legs? Your feet? Or are you just, like, drawing swords in order? Like, how is that working? His blade was very sharp, and his draw was very swift. Yu Shengyan moved. It's crab fighting. I'm just thinking about that. Like, what does that mean? I need some art of this. I need to visualize this. Between his toes. Oh no. Just like hopping around. Like, I can't. Yu Shengyan moved. She abandoned her original position, forced backward by the incoming sword. If she were to draw her own, this wouldn't even constitute a threat. But Yu Shengyan did not draw her sword without sufficient reason. Are you sure this isn't sufficient reason? Still, her bare hands were no match for this blade and its cutting edge. I think that is a sufficient reason. If you're no match for it otherwise. Unless you don't actually have your sword. I still don't know about that. The man hadn't come alone. He had an underling, and that underling engaged Guoju. Nearly everyone else was lost in the drunken debauchery inside the cabin. Sword glares flashed on the icy deck. Swords slithered behind them like venomous snakes. Yu Shengyan retreated to the stern of the ship. Her eyes fell on the sail, flapping in the wind. Guoju turned with a shout. "Draw your sword, Yu Jie." Yu Shengyan's eyes darkened. The unseen sword cleaved hearts in two. Another's? Or her own? How many years had passed since it last left its sheath? Moss had grown over cold stone. Rain had washed away the old, shriveled leaves and crimson streaks of blood. Killing without reason is my greatest regret. And this is quotes, and they're in italics, by the way. Remember, if you have any other choice, you must not take a life. None survive the unseen sword. It leaves its sheath only to kill. You must never draw it lightly. You have a quiet nature, so you likely won't be dragged into Zhanghu quarrels, but there's much in life we can't predict. I've lived in torment for so many years. Have no qualms. The sooner you strike, the sooner I'm freed. I ask of you nothing but to protect Kuxian. She's a pitiful person. Her temper will only spell her doom. That would be the someone, I'm trying to remember who it was that made her promise to protect Lil Kuxian. I guess that would be her, and it kind of sounds like she was asking Yu Shengyan to kill her, like a mercy killing, or like she was about to die anyway. Her Shifu, was it? I just can't remember right now. She came back to her senses to find she'd leapt onto the sail and grabbed for the end of the rope, while the man's sword bore toward her heart. Yu Shengyan caught the tip between her fingers and spun aside. A lock of her hair fell, shorn by the soft blade she caught in her teeth. The sword on the man's leg came slicing upward. Okay, so no, I think I could visualize it now. I think somehow he has he has a sword on either leg, and I think they're probably like tied to him or something. So like he's like kicking, and by kicking he can like slash people with his sword. But this still sounds ridiculous. The sword on the man's leg came slicing upward. Yu Shengyan slammed her palm against it and sent it flying into another blade, and with a shriek of metal, both went crashing to the ground. A chilling gale swept up from behind her. Vicious killing intent surrounded them, and the other man escaped Guoju. Yu Shengyan sighed softly. Her sword was still in its sheath. I really don't understand why you won't just draw it. There came a low shout, followed by a miserable shriek. Yu Shengyan watched as her opponent's face twisted like he'd caught sight of a ghost. The Taoist couldn't retract his sword. In that instant, he made up his mind and fled like a shadow toward the sea. His Qinggong was very good, and he moved fast. But Fu Wanqing was faster. The sword cut deep. There was a blood-curdling scream, and his legs fell, shorn and bloody, onto the deck. The revelers in the cabin had finally noticed the commotion. They were greeted with a grisly sight as soon as they looked out. 2 middle-aged Taoists, one with his arms cut off, and the other missing his legs. Fu Wanqing's hand slid along the blade of her sword, wiping away the blood. Her laugh was cold. Disciples of Diansong sect? The man was sweating with pain, but Fu Wanqing's question made him spit and start swearing. Fu Wanqing, you villainess. You're the Alliance leader's daughter. It's one thing if you don't care to fight the enemy, but how dare you cozy up to their high priestess? You're cheapening the name of the House of Valor. Yu Shengyan is their leader. Aren't you going after the demonic guild right now? Why don't you start with this demoness right here? What a herd of lust-addled idiots. Cowards, the lot of you. Fu Wanqing clapped her hands together. Well said. Very well said. She glanced at the others, giggling at the hesitant looks on their faces. Didn't you hear what this Taoist said? Why aren't you attacking? Miss Yu is a good person. She's just the daughter of the last high priest. There's nothing wrong with her except her title. We're chivalrous people. How could we harm the innocent? That's right. Miss Yu is innocent. She's never done anything to hurt us Zhanghu warriors. Bastards. Wastes of space, spat the Taoist. Shen Shengyi glanced at Fu Wanqing. They're not from Diansong sect, he said blithely. I don't know when they snuck onto the ship. Immediately, someone started shouting. Who sent them here to sow discord? Who's trying to create chaos? With a loud smack, they slapped the Taoist in the face. Who are you? Who do you answer to? If you don't tell us, we'll throw you into the sea for the fishes. Mayhem erupted on the ship. In the raucous noise, Fu Wanqing grabbed Yu Shengyan by the wrist and dragged her into the cabin. She wasn't smiling anymore. Her face was as dark as clouds before a terrible storm. Is it because you don't want to kill? Is that why you don't draw your sword? You might not want to kill anyone, but there's so many people trying to kill you. If you're so set against it, why don't you destroy your own martial skills? That way, forget drawing your sword. You wouldn't be able to hurt anyone if you tried. Fu Wanqing shoved Yu Shengyan down into the bed, scoffing. Fury burned in her heart, unrelenting. If she didn't let it out, it would drive her insane. Yu Shengyan kept herself upright with one hand planted in the blankets. Good idea, she said mildly. Oh, yeah, right. Just get a normal sword. Just change swords. Yeah, blue. Good point. You. Fu Wanqing pointed at Yu Shengyan, her hand shaking. She was at a loss for words. Cold and distant. Yu Shengyan always acted like this. She'd unwittingly let her become too important. Fu Wanqing realized suddenly how much danger she was in. She reined in her anger and put on a splendid smile, kneeling down at Yu Shengyan's side. She put one hand on her shoulder and wrapped that shorn lock of hair in the fingers of the other. A tiny scratch marred the skin by Yu Shengyan's ear. Fu Wanqing bent and licked at it, catching her earlobe between her teeth. Of course, I don't want you safe because I care about you. It's because I want my duel. Yu Shengyan, if you are going to die, it will be by my hand. Yu Shengyan blinked. I know. Rage glittered in Fu Wanqing's eyes before disappearing just as quickly.
Good. I hope the Yu Shangyan who meets my sword will be whole, unharmed, and healthy. I will not duel you. Perhaps that was the one thing Fu Wanqing had heard Yu Shangyan say the most. It was the last straw for Fu Wanqing's restraint. She bit down on Yu Shangyan's cheek and didn't let go until a metallic tang filled her mouth. But Yu Shangyan never moved. She didn't make a sound. Anger and defeat came upon Fu Wanqing. She looked up just to meet Yu Shangyan's steady gaze, mysterious and enchanting. Her heart skipped a beat. Fu Wanqing kissed Yu Shangyan's eyelids as softly as the brush of a butterfly's wing. We're just like careening back and forth. It was a pure gesture, not meant as teasing in the least. She wrapped her arms around Yu Shangyan, gnashing her teeth. You vex me so. I love and loathe you at once. And that's the end of the chapter. And now it is time for me to take about a 10-minute break. And when I get back, we will be on page 223 for chapter 30, which is called Green Jade Isle. Well, we still have a little under half of the novel for Fu Wanqing to get it together. So, there's time. Alright, I'll be right back.
Hello, I am back. I am back for more of the Beauty's Blade. I think we have a whole 3 more chapters. This has been like a whopping... This stream will be like 7 chapters or something like that. They're very short. So we are on page 223 for chapter 30, Green Jade Isle. In the Zhonghu, many people wanted Fu Wanqing dead, and many wanted the same for Yu Shangyan. The world boasted more than lust-addled men. Women, for example. Fascinating. Fu Wanqing hid the cutting edge in her gaze, pursing her lips. We'll land at Green Jade Isle by dusk, right? The demonic disciples have probably already gotten wind of our arrival. I wonder how they'll greet us. Lo Kexin loathes you to her core. I doubt hacking you to bits would be enough to quell her hatred. Gu Yu giggled. But Lo Kexin is Yu Shangyan's Shijie. Aren't you at least a bit concerned that Yu Shangyan will turn on you? Fu Wanqing sighed gustily. I wish she'd draw her sword on me. Gu Yu shook her head, pointing at Fu Wanqing's heart. You say that now, but when the day comes that the unseen sword is aimed at you, I know you'll be in agony. Oh, damn. Oh, don't say that. Yu Shangyan is too important to you. If you don't get a handle on your emotions, you'll forget yourself and only remember Yu Shangyan. Matters of the heart were indeed bothersome, but Fu Wanqing did not have a heart. None of these things could trouble her. She pouted, uncaring. There will be no such day.
Yu Shengyan is already dead in my eyes. She's just like every other opponent I've fought. A scoff. I've never seen you bite any of your other opponents in the face, said Guyu with a shake of her head. Did Guyu witness this, or did she just hear about it later? That's such an embarrassing thing to have someone witness. Fu Wanqing's eyes curved with mirth. She pointed at Guyu and laughed. Look at you making fun of me. What about you? Guoju is part of Hawk's Roost, but she is on our side, unlike the Zhong brothers. If you don't feel anything for her, just reject her outright. I can't have one of my allies drunk and dizzy all day, mumbling a woman's name. The smile faded from Guyu's face. Love is the heaviest weight of all, she said, sighing. Why can't there be a pill that closes your heart entirely? Interesting response to that, because it sounds like she doesn't want to just go to Guoju and say, I'm not interested, so I'm like, why is that? A question that many would have liked the answer to. Heartbreak was suffering, and so many who'd witnessed that suffering refused to take the risk. Many such people lived on Green Jade Isle. With their hearts denied, they embarked on a path of no return. Waves crashed against the shale. The ocean breeze beat at their faces, scraping at their skin like knives. All those rowdy Jianghu fighters yammering on about destroying the demonic guild lost their bright-eyed enthusiasm when they caught sight of the rock array. 24 gray boulders protruded from the waters, covered in dark bloodstains. Beneath them lay so many shattered corpses. That's the demonic guild's boulder maze. Bullshit. It's just a bunch of rocks. One fearless strongman strode into the boulder maze, his meteor hammer whirling in his hand. Immediately, the stones whipped around, rumbling like a crash of thunder. The man's meteor hammer and his mangled arm sailed back out. His arm was neatly severed. The boulder maze appeared to possess a labyrinth of blades as well. Underhanded tricks, shouted a second wiry man, but he certainly wasn't taking a single step closer to the stones. It's a huge island. Can't we go ashore anywhere else? Why don't we find another way in? It sounds like something that appears around the whole thing, no matter where you go. Like, you know, it's a magical boulder array. It can probably change locations. With that, he leapt forth. But hardly half an hour passed before he came back, face pale. It's surrounded by rocky peaks and twisting forests, filled with poisonous fog. There really is only one way in. How do we get through the boulder maze? I don't know. Well, you, Shangyan, would know, I assume. Are we just going to sit here waiting? We might as well just go back to Jiangnan. Go back? The ship is gone. There's nothing here but the island and the sea. Oh, these are... wait. The ship is gone. So they're not on the ship. The ship has left them. How about we kill the boulders with the unseen sword? There's nothing here but the island and the sea. If we can't make it through the boulder maze, we'll die out here. Wait, why did the ship leave without us? Who owns it? Did we ever see her face? Isn't it too late to be wondering about that? Focus on finding a way through the boulders. Right, isn't Priestess Yu with us? She's from the Jadewater Guild. I bet she knows how to bypass the maze. She's a good person. There's no way she'd just let us stay trapped here. As the High Priestess of the Jadewater Guild, Yu Shengyan did indeed know the way through the stone array. But why would she tell these Jianghu warriors? She stood on a massive black outcropping of shale, seagulls perching on her shoulder and hand. Well, hands were technically mentioned, so we drink. The ocean breeze ruffled her long hair and white robes. She was as serene as a painting, one that no one dared disturb. But they had to get through the array. Yang Wugong, who'd stayed gravely stern throughout the journey, stepped forward. Fu Wanqing was watching Yu Shengyan with narrowed eyes, and Yang Wugong's sudden appearance ruined her good mood. Her sword came shooting out, and the sand it kicked up blocking Yang Wugong's way like a brick wall. Fu Wanqing said nothing, but everyone understood. No one was to disturb Yu Shengyan. We need to get to the Jadewater Guild, Yang Wugong told Fu Wanqing solemnly. We must find a way through the boulder maze. Fu Wanqing grinned. What does any of that have to do with us? I didn't come here on behalf of the House of Valor. Destroying the Jadewater Guild is your business, not mine. Yu Shengyan is the High Priestess, he said coldly. If we cannot break through the maze, we have no choice but to take her hostage and force the Jadewater Guild's disciples to come to us. The Wei Yang Company's reputation was in tatters, and Yang Wugong's pride was crushed. He had nothing left to lose. His heart, once softened by affection, had finally been frozen by the touch of layered ice. It was now as hard and as unfeeling as stone. Fu Wanqing threw her head back and laughed. She leapt forward with the flash of her sword, and a drop of blood hit the sands. Oh, Yang Wugong, she scoffed. Who do you think you are? Are you fit to be Yu Shengyan's enemy? His face was bleeding, and the wind was so cold it felt like ice against his skin. Yang Wugong wore no expression at all. Certainly not alone. But other Jianghu warriors are here with me, he said. Everyone wants to get through the array, no? Hi, bunnies. Very good, said Fu Wanqing with a sneer. Very good. She took in their hesitant looks. Don't you want to get through the boulder maze? It's really quite simple. All it takes is for all it takes is for 6 people to go inside and die. The stone maze itself isn't much of a threat. It's the array within the array that's the real problem. The 24 boulders move constantly, and the 6-bladed arrays spin inside. Once there are 6 corpses, they serve to help everyone else find their way. Their positions let you know where the blade mazes lie. Is there another way to do it? Nobody wanted to die, but there were always those who'd force the issue. You've got no parents or kin. You go. Shouldn't it be you? Aren't you always going on about cleansing yourself of sin? Here's your chance. Do it for the good of the Jianghu. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, Yikes. Okay. Remember that girl you raped 16 years ago? If you don't go, I'll tell the story everywhere and burn down your reputation. You're doomed either way. You're better off dying for a noble cause. People will call you a hero. Yeah, I kill that guy. Bull fucking shit. Sorry, I just was like, what? Like, that came out of nowhere. I'm so rich. There's no way I'm dying here. You guys go ahead. I'll take care of your wives and kids. And then there is an ellipsis. The 6 who were selected had no other choice, as dark and twisted secrets floated to the surface. The expressions on those sanctimonious warriors' faces grew predatory. Fu Wanqing began to smile, watching disdainfully as 6 people walked into the stone array. She was just as unimpressed as the rest crowded behind them to pass through the boulders. The sounds of rumbling stone and screams of excruciating pain echoed in the air. No one made it out. So I guess because other people were around who could attack them or force them if they tried not to go in, they literally just went in and gave up their lives, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's only one of those people that, from what I can tell, deserve to die, but okay. The disciples of the Light Path Alliance hadn't moved. Neither did a few other wise people. Shen Shengyi's expression was stormier than the sky itself. He turned to Fu Wanqing. Lady Fu. He raised his voice. What do you mean by this? Fu Wanqing smiled thinly. They were too stupid for their own good. I just made a random guess. Of course I don't know how to get through the array. Did I invite them in myself? Did I force them to die? Shen Shengyi, did you do anything to stop them from taking that road of no return? The stone array parted to reveal a path. A swath of mangled corpses came into view. 2 lines of people, one dressed in white and one dressed in black, came through the maze. They stared straight ahead, never even glancing at the Jianghu warriors. A high whistle pierced the air as the assembly knelt as one before Yu Shengyan, where she was standing on the stone. Glory to your return. Glory to the High Priestess. The seabirds flew from Yu Shengyan's shoulder. She turned to the disciples kneeling on the ground and nodded minutely. Oh, hey. This is the term Shimei, as in, like, little, Marshall's sister. Shimei, not the name. Shimei, you finally returned, cried a happy voice. A pretty woman was pushed out, seated in a wheelchair and flanked by 2 handsome men with long hair and swords strapped to their backs. Right-hand Deputy Lo Kushin of the Jadewater Guild, whose legs had been destroyed by Fu Wanqing. Oh, this is going to be awkward. All visitors from afar are guests. Deputy Lo, aren't you going to welcome us? Fu Wanqing asked, laughing. It was a voice Lo Kushin would know until the day she died. Her fingers instantly tightened on the wheelchair's armrests, furious hate sparking in her eyes. Yu Shengyan went to stand beside Fu Wanqing, and that only maddened Lo Kushin further. She forced a smile onto her face, legs dangling. Shimei, she said airily. I said you didn't need to run around just for me. My legs are fine this way. It's been 3 years. I've gotten used to it. Your Shijie was weak. You don't have to avenge me. Yu Shengyan glanced at her, nodding. Indeed, she said earnestly. Her survival was already proof of heaven's mercy. That is the end of the chapter. Yeah, I can't imagine that made a whole lot of sense coming in just out of the blue in the middle of things. I mean, some of that was pretty out of the blue for us as well. Blue, you said, don't worry, I barely remember, like, 4 characters besides the main. I do think it's interesting, well, the way that Yu Shengyan, like, agreed with Lo Kushin in that instance, because I'm like, Yu Shengyan is going out of her way to get this medicine for her. So she does want to, like, try to cure her, in addition to just being like, oh, well, you're alive, so that's all that matters. I don't know. It's like, well, she's going out of her way to help her anyway. That's, bunnies, don't worry, because that's basically part of the synopsis that's on the back of the book. But yeah, I'm like, I don't know, anyway, I don't know. That just confused me for a second, and then I was having thoughts of, like, I wonder about Yu Shengyan's motives sometimes. A lot, actually. I mean, part of it is just because we get in Fu Wanqing's head a lot more than Yu Shengyan, so, like, yeah. So we're on page something, 231, for chapter 31, which is called Mountain Home. Lo Kushin hadn't expected Yu Shengyan to agree with her. There was a long pause before she smiled again. Since you're all guests of our High Priestess, please follow me. There was only one winding path across the island, and the surrounding forests were full of entrapment fog. Anyone who stepped inside would have a hard time making it out. Jade Water Guild disciples stood in pairs at strategic points along the moss-covered stone road, clutching their swords, as still as corpses. The road led to a hall so magnificent it could have been an imperial palace. The words Jade Water Guild were scrawled upon the signage board in a hand so brash and arrogant it was intimidating. This main hall was where the wardens of the Jade Water Guild gathered to discuss important matters. The righteous fighters were led along the winding corridor to the back of the building, where a huge garden lay. Buildings rose on either side, and paper lanterns hung in front of the corridor, swinging to and fro in the icy wind. Fu Wanqing followed behind Yu Shangyan, never stopping even as they walked through the garden. The back hall was built atop the sheer mountain cliffs, and in the distance, at the mist-capped peak, was another building. Fu Wanqing looked up and sighed. Yu Shangyan was indeed unanchored from the mortal world. If Fu Wanqing had been the one living at that impossibly remote peak, she would have gone insane a long time ago. After almost 1,000 steps, that distant house seemed close at hand, but even closer was an abyssal ravine. The only thing crossing that ravine was an iron chain, swaying among the clouds. Yu Shangyan landed lightly atop the chain. She started forward as if she was walking on flat ground. So there's not even like a bridge. It's like you got a tightrope across. Oh, thank you for dropping in, bunnies. Have a good one. Yeah, this is even worse than the rickety, bridge that might fall apart. It's like, nah, you got a tightrope. You got a chain, that's it. As she stood still on the mountain, Fu Wanqing's gaze flickered. She grabbed hold of the chain and gave it a hard shake. But Yu Shangyan didn't stop or even bother to turn around. She continued forward, her white-garbed silhouette disappearing in the misty clouds like an immortal from the skies. Boring, yelled Fu Wanqing. She stepped onto the chain after her. Wind roared in her ears. Yu Shangyan was ahead of her. She looked at once so close, and so far. Fu Wanqing's distraction cost her. She stepped into open air and fell into that endless ravine. Careful, came Yu Shangyan's voice right at her ear. She blinked. She was on the other side of the ravine, she realized, with an arm tight around her waist. Fu Wanqing smiled very softly. Just as she was going to say something else, she caught sight of the little wooden house. In all respects, it was commonplace, except for the many sharp swords hanging from the roof, swaying and clanking softly in the wind. The sight of those hanging blades had Fu Wanqing imagining how Yu Shangyan must have looked, weaving between them as she trained. The house itself was appointed very simply. There was one bed, one desk, one chair, and basically nothing else. There was only one bed. I don't get many guests, said Yu Shangyan softly. Fu Wanqing touched the dust on the table. A dazzling palace of gold down there, and a shabby wooden cabin up here. If I didn't know you were the High Priestess, I'd think you were being kept prisoner. Can't anywhere be a prison, replied Yu Shangyan faintly. She walked out of the house. Craggy peaks rose on one side, while on the other was an endless expanse of sea. Freezing mountain winds cut to the bone, and Fu Wanqing wrapped her robes around herself more tightly as she followed quickly after Yu Shangyan. The house wasn't the only thing at the top of the mountain. A towering old pine tree stood beside it, and as they approached, Fu Wanqing noticed the little grave beneath it. The mottled headstone was blank, unmarked by any name. Who lay buried here? The question rose in Fu Wanqing's heart, but Yu Shangyan spoke before she could ask. Oh, right. Okay, this is the one who made her promise to protect Lo Kashin. Yeah.
This is the grave of my auntie Lo Lan, my Shijie's Shifu. I promised her I wouldn't let anyone take my Shijie's life. You brought me all the way here just to tell me I can't kill her? Fu Wanqing's gaze frosted over. You made that promise to Lo Lan, not me. If you really wanted to protect her, why did you let her leave the Jadewater Guild 3 years ago to duel me? If I hadn't held back, she probably would have died right there. It was my fault. I failed to stop her, Yu Shengyan replied, her eyes downcast. That's why I need to find that last medicinal ingredient. Fu Wanqing had completely forgotten about that. The whole premise of her staying with you for 3 months. Yu Shengyan had agreed to stay with her for 3 months in exchange for the Millennium Tortoise gallbladder hidden in the House of Valor. Which of them was really toying with whom? Who had bewitched whom? Fu Wanqing scoffed, extremely coldly. Once the 3 months are up, I'll give you the gallbladder. She reached out to tilt Yu Shengyan's jaw, eyes fixed on her unmoved face. Suddenly, her heart began to throb. Some kind of emotion was swelling inside her chest. Her fingers tightened, leaving red marks on Yu Shengyan's face. Fu Wanqing pulled her hand back and laughed, head thrown back. As Yu Shengyan watched in confusion, she swept her sleeves and left. Red robes flared among the insubstantial clouds. Lady Fu! Yu Shengyan rubbed her eyes, calling out in utter exasperation. When Fu Wanqing didn't stop, she hastened after her, grabbing her by the wrist. Fu Wanqing! What do you want? Yelled Fu Wanqing grumpily. She looked just like a child throwing a tantrum. Yu Shengyan sighed, cupping Fu Wanqing's hand in her palms. She watched her quietly. Well, palms, that's a hand, so here we go. Fu Wanqing didn't understand what Yu Shengyan was trying to do, but she knew her own heart. Yu Shengyan's gaze could make anyone succumb. She was Yu Shengyan, Fu Wanqing's only equal in all the world. Fu Wanqing's heart sped up. Yu Shengyan, you... Fingers tilted up her chin. Yu Shengyan's eyes were dark and very intent. Being caught in that gaze made her feel like she was being burned from head to toe. A rosy flush spread across Fu Wanqing's cheeks, the anger that had built up in her heart, turning slowly into embarrassment. Her heart was pounding, but her breathing was steady. Yu Shengyan kissed the corner of Fu Wanqing's lips. Just as Fu Wanqing thought she would pull away, she licked at the seam of them, prying open her tightly shut jaw. Warm breaths brushed Fu Wanqing's cheek, that faint orchid-like fragrance engulfing her entirely. The ground seemed to collapse beneath her feet. She had nowhere to put her weight. All she could do was wrap her arms around Yu Shengyan's waist, as both of them fell and sank deep. What are you doing now? Fu Wanqing asked softly against Yu Shengyan's brow. Her breathing was beginning to slow, and her hand was fisted tightly in Yu Shengyan's lapels. She never explained herself when she did these things to Yu Shengyan. She acted only on her own whims. Her knees were jelly. Her heart was pounding. She'd never had such a strong reaction before. Her heart tensed in anticipation for Yu Shengyan's answer. A flush had risen on Yu Shengyan's cheeks as well. She gave a small smile, reaching out to wipe a smear of saliva from Fu Wanqing's mouth. Fu Wanqing looked down to hide her disappointment, smoothing the wrinkles in Yu Shengyan's collars as she did. Not everything goes according to plan, Fu Wanqing sighed softly. I don't want to be false and dishonorable to you, but now it seems I won't have a choice. She pressed her palm flat to Yu Shengyan's heart, and Yu Shengyan did nothing to defend herself. What if that hand had been a sword?
Fu Wanqing pulled back. Why do you trust me without reservation? Yu Shengyan shook her head. I don't know, she whispered. Fu Wanqing scoffed. It's because you don't care about anything. Life and death are equally unimportant to you. Yu Shengyan, your martial skills are very strong, but you wouldn't be able to beat me in a bare-knuckle brawl. Yu Shengyan stared back at Fu Wanqing. After a long moment, she sighed. Why do you persist? Why do you? Each of them had their own resolve. Each had their own path to walk. They knew that well. But now, Fu Wanqing realized she'd reached the end of her own path. There was no more road in front of her. If I'm not mistaken, the old Light Path Alliance geezers have sent their own warriors to the Jadewater Guild in secret. They've always wanted to take the guild down once and for all, she said suddenly. Yue Qingtan sent the Jade Guanyin here, but it'll end up back in the House of Valor's hands eventually. Lo Kexin might be part of the Jadewater Guild, but she might not be wholly loyal to you. There's hatred in her eyes when she looks at you. And Wei Xian is still in Jiangnan. You're in danger. She ought to hate me, said Yu Shengyan, her eyes curving in a weary smile. My sword ended Auntie Lo Lan's life, though it was at her own request. Fu Wanqing stiffened. She'd never imagined this as a possibility. The sword's malevolence had grown too strong, Yu Shengyan explained. Unchecked slaughter drags the wielder down the path of the demon. Auntie Lo Lan couldn't rein in her murderous impulses. She took many lives. She constantly spoke of destroying her own martial skill, but she could never bring herself to do it. She killed at the slightest whim, righteous warriors and guild disciples alike. They called her a fiend. She was lost in bloodlust, but occasionally she had moments of lucidity. She begged me to do it. Is that why you won't draw your sword? Asked Fu Wanqing. Yes, but not entirely. Why don't I see sadness or guilt in your eyes? No matter how you spin it, you did kill her. Yu Shengyan blinked. Auntie Lo Lan asked me to. I freed her. How did I do anything wrong? Fu Wanqing fell silent. After a long moment, she burst out laughing. Fu Wanqing might have been heartless, but was Yu Shengyan any better? They were kindred spirits. Didn't that make them a perfect match? That is the end of the chapter. We have one more today. We are on page 239 for chapter 32, which is called Want at Play. They were guests in name only. In truth, they were trapped in their rooms, confined to a single courtyard. Everywhere they looked were Jadewater Guild disciples keeping watch, all far more skilled than they were. For Shen Shengyi, escape wouldn't be particularly difficult. Even if he made it out of their palace halls, though, where could he go without a ship? Arrogance, recklessness, and impulsivity. Shen Shengyi sat on a stone bench beneath a tree, reflecting. They'd come to the Jadewater Guild in search of the Jade Guanyin, and to vanquish the demonic guild once and for all while they were at it. But they'd lost the better part of their forces in that one stone maze. He looked up slowly, his darkened gaze sweeping across the Jadewater Guild disciples who surrounded them. Was there truly no hope of getting out of here alive? Well, if Fu Wanqing or Yu Shengyan asked for their safety, they could return to Jiangnan unharmed. He knew that much. I really don't understand you Jianghu warriors and your so-called righteousness. Is there no blood on your hands? Have you done no wrong? Do all those shops belong to your disciples from well-known sects just because? Is the Jadewater Guild supposed to endure abuse without protest? A torrent of questions flowed over him. Shen Shengyi looked up to see a woman leaning against the railing. A woman he knew. Yue Qingtan, he said slowly. The woman who stole the Jade Guanyin. The one who had witnessed Shen Shengyi lose all his pride. You promised to drink with me, Yue Qingtan. What are you doing here? Another familiar voice drifted over. Gu Yu. Was Gu Yu part of the Jadewater Guild? Shun Shengyi shuddered. Gu Yu had come with the Zhong brothers. Whether she worked for them or they worked for her was hard to say. The Zhonghu had learned her name after she wrought havoc on the Arcane Order, and still somehow managed to bring both brothers under her thrall. Many knew the name of the third young master, but nobody knew anything about her origins. If she was from the Jadewater Guild, if she was the one who'd killed Zhong Tian, if she'd really orchestrated it all, the whole of the righteous Jianghu was in danger. Zhong Shiling, he shouted. Zhong Shixiu. They stood there mutely in the middle of the courtyard, staring at Gu Yu. Shun Shengyi was out of patience. He strode up to them with a swish of his robes. Gu Yu had vanished, and Yue Qingtan was gone without a trace. Do you know who the third young master is? He demanded. Who procured that ship? An orphan, said Zhong Shiling. Someone dealt a poor hand by fate. Caution suddenly took hold of him. He eyed Shun Shengyi warily, like a lone wolf from the grassy plains trying to defend its prey. Why do you ask? Scorn flickered in Shun Shengyi's eyes. The third young master is responsible for all this, isn't she? Do you two know who she is? Yue Qingtan is a demoness of the Jadewater Guild. They're friends, do you understand? The late sect leader Zhong was killed by someone from the Jadewater Guild. And then the third young master popped up and trashed the morning hall. Do you think that's a coincidence? Have you forgotten the feud of patricide? You mean to say she's part of the Jadewater Guild? Complete nonsense. Zhong Shixiu burst out in angry laughter, offended. If that was true, why would she help us find a ship? As for our dad, that's between us brothers, not you. Listen up, Shun Shengyi. You better not get any ideas about you are. The only reason she made a ruckus at the Arcane Order was to put on a show for a villain. Someone forced her, that's all. Shun Shengyi scoffed. Forced her? Who? Zhong Shixiu grinned in satisfaction. We've killed them. Exactly, Zhong Shiling nodded. We cut them down. No one in the world can threaten Yuar anymore. She'll stay with us. You don't need to worry about her. The Zhong brothers were under Gu Yu's spell, and so was Guo Ju. Shun Shengyi's hands tightened into fists, his expression darker than spilled ink. Shen Shixiong, came a resentful voice. I told you the third young master was bad news. She was all cozy with that bitch Chunfeng Xiao. Yang Wumin stepped out. A coy smile spread over her face, twisting her scars in a terrifying way. She very well could have given us those ships to send us to our deaths. And that woman Fu Wanqing, she's consorting disgracefully with a guild demoness. Despicable. Loathing flickered in Shun Shengyi's eyes. He ignored the plaintive looks Yang Wumin gave him. What crimes has Lady Fu committed, he said. She might not intervene in Zhonghu business, but that's no sin. Yang she may. The 5 clans of the Light Path Alliance have always been as one. I think it would be best if this misunderstanding between the Weiyang Company and the House of Valor can be dealt with as soon as possible. It will be good for you both and the Zhonghu as a whole. Alliance leader Fu might not want to pursue the Jade Guanyin, but that doesn't mean everyone else will just forget it. When Lady Fu is around, you're better off lying low. Yang Wumin pouted, upset. Shen Shixiong. Her brother was in love with Fu Wanqing, and it seemed Shun Shengyi was as well. How could Yang Wumin keep from despising her? Fu Wanqing wasn't the woman they imagined her to be. What's there to love about a cruel, vicious woman with the heart of a scorpion? She thought piteously. She took a step forward, conveniently losing her balance as if to fall right on top of Shun Shengyi. He smiled faintly, as elegant and poised as the springtime breeze. Brushing a dead leaf from his sleeve, he moved out of range. Watch your step. Of course, there was no way Yang Wumin would let herself hit the ground. She clenched her jaw, smiling.
You're too considerate, Shen Shishong. Blue, you said I'm hearing clown music again. By the time she'd regained her balance, Shen Shengyi was gone. She aimed a furious kick at a nearby tree, only to be caught off guard when the bird's nest cradled in its branches fell on her head. Mud and twigs covered her hair. She was a complete mess, but no one present was fit to bear the brunt of Lady Yang's rage. All she could do was sweep her sleeves and run into her room. In winter, the courtyard was cold and dismal. Crows croaked as they flew past the horizon. The sun set in the dreary dark, and the night came in chilling cold. 2 disciples of Black Peak Hall were inexplicably dead. A few among the righteous warriors had died in their rooms, too, never to wake. They bore no mark, nor made the slightest noise. There were no wounds found on their bodies. The first could be a coincidence, but the second? I bet those shameless Jadewater Guild lackeys are poisoning us. How despicable. I knew nothing good could exist in the demonic guild. If they wanted to get rid of us, why would they hurt their own disciples to do it? Those were high-level fighters from Black Peak Hall who died. Who knows what they're thinking? Tell me, who else but members of the Jadewater Guild could sneak in here to kill us? I think we're not the only ones on Green Jade Isle. Having overheard their discussions, Fu Wanqing crept back out. Yu Shengyan stood in the courtyard, gazing serenely into the distance. Fu Wanqing didn't know what she was looking at. Perhaps she wasn't looking at anything at all. Yu Shengyan turned, eyeing her. Back so soon? So did she have some involvement in killing those people, or... Fu Wanqing smiled. You think they'd figure anything out? Does the Jadewater Guild not care about this at all? The lost disciples were standouts in Black Peak Hall, right? It really was my fault this time. Okay. Yu Shengyan nodded. You don't seem to care about those disciples at all. Do you care about those Zhonghu warriors? No. Fu Wanqing smiled again. For many years, she believed she'd never in her life find someone who aligned with her so completely. And now she had. But why did it have to be an enemy? I mean, she doesn't have to be your enemy. Like, you don't have to duel her. The brilliance of Fu Wanqing's smile made the corners of Yu Shengyan's mouth quirk up. She pressed her fingertips to Fu Wanqing's sternum. Lady Fu, it's true that you have no heart. She sighed. The righteous warriors of the Zhonghu dance to the House of Valor's tune, but soon they'll lose all right to the word valor. Fu Wanqing licked her lips, clasping Yu Shengyan's hand and pinning it down. Did you only just realize? Priestess Yu, when have you ever had a heart? Yu Shengyan was far too tempting. Fu Wanqing wanted to eat her up and swallow her whole. She was someone who did as she pleased, uncaring of what anyone else thought. She did nothing for show, only whatever she herself desired. She left a trail of kisses from the corner of Yu Shengyan's lips to those eyes that shone like stars. Yu Shengyan, you are mine, and mine alone. If you are to die, it will be at my hand and no other. And that was in italics. She didn't just say that. This wasn't the first time Yu Shengyan had heard her say such things. Her brow furrowed. Is this desire, or just Lady Fu's possessiveness? I mean, both, I guess. Fu Wanqing scoffed, cupping Yu Shengyan's face in her hands. Oh, hands mentioned. Doesn't desire imply possession? I don't share the things I care for. I want to keep you all to myself, so that no one but me can look upon you. Tell me, is that not desire? That's the end of the chapter. And it's 4:59, so perfect timing. That is where we're stopping for today. When, excuse me, when we come back on Wednesday, we will be reading chapter 33, which is called Man in Black. We are already so far into this. I don't know where the time went. I'm curious where things are going as far as I like that last little part about who is it, Guyu? I'm like, yeah, what is Guyu doing? So I'm very curious about that. Oh, Blue, what do you mean changing genres? Do you feel like it like shifted somehow? But yeah, I'm like, what is Guyu up to? What is, oh, Men in Black. I didn't even think about that. Yes, it's different. It's one Man in Black. It's not two or more. It's just one. um, yeah, I'm like, what is Guyu up to? I'm curious if what... Wait, Yang Wumin said... Like, if Yang Wumin is, like, actually totally right about Guyu, if there's something else going on. Because it does, a lot of things seem to point to Guyu as, like, killing the Zhong guy, Zhong Tian, and, like, just being up to all this underhanded stuff. But, like, maybe it's not her. Maybe it's somebody else. I can't tell if there's a twist coming with that, or if it's just, like, we've got our person already. And it's always a little bit unclear, like, the extent of what Fu Wanqing has done in the background to orchestrate certain things, and what, like, other people are doing. So that's interesting. But yeah, I feel like the biggest development that is yet to happen is just Fu Wanqing sorting herself and her feelings out. And yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a difficult or angsty situation involving the sword. I'm still wondering about the whole, like, oh, somebody was killed with the unseen sword. I'm still like, so was that Yu Shengyan or somebody else? And if it was somebody else, how was it somebody else? That has not been answered yet, so I feel like we're going to be waiting till close to the end for that one. Yeah, Blue, you said at least we know that lesbians move fast once they pull their shit together. Yeah. On one hand, the narrative is forcing them to move fast. On the other hand, I mean, there was stuff going on in the very first stream, so they really have. They're just speeding along. But yeah, I have questions, but I also feel like during the stream, I feel like I felt a few plot points like slot into place for me in my brain, just as far as like, okay, I'm kind of actually aware a little bit of like what's going on here. I don't like remember all the side characters, but I'm like, okay, I kind of get what's happening. Things are like working out in the little math equation in my head. So yeah, I'm excited to see what comes of that. And I do feel like it's not going to be till like close to the very end that Yu Shengyan and Fu Wanqing like really settle their emotions and are like totally honest with each other and like just figure it out. That one has taken a little while. Well, especially for Fu Wanqing. Yu Shengyan, we're still only getting like glimpses of her thoughts, so she's like a little bit more mysterious, but I think for Yu Shengyan, it's kind of like she's so much the stoic type, and I think she has to not, I don't know, I guess like figure out how to express her emotions, because I feel like Fu Wanqing keeps thinking that she doesn't care about her, really. And I think Yu Shengyan is probably like in her head like,
Actually, I care a lot, but it's not easily apparent. So yeah, I had a good time with y'all, and I will see you again on Wednesday. Thank you for coming to the stream. Oh, you think she doesn't care too? She's very stoic. Like, she doesn't want to tell her how she feels? Because I get a vibe of, like, she's trying to hold back. But that's part of what I mean, is that she has to, like, her progression is she has to, like, figure out, hey, actually, this person is important to me. It's important that I express myself with her. Yeah, oh, you think it's more that she's repressed. Yeah, that makes sense, too. She's like, I got the emotions, I don't know what to do with them. I'm holding them back. We don't have enough time to also let things slip through the cracks very often. Yeah, true. So yeah, thank you for coming to the stream. I will see y'all on Wednesday for more Beauty's Blade.